Oh, that's a little better.
Yeah.
All right.
She has the sunbeam coming on hers.
Yep. Oh, here, take your shit.
Yeah, you're right.
Teeny weeny table. I'm gonna go. I don't know which way I want to go.
Let's see what Bob does.
I think he's doing vertical. I think he's doing vertical. See, I still should have got the big table out. That's okay. I have to pick up some light cream.
Mix it with milk.
I did, and at that point, my stomach was so full. Excuse me.
What?
Was not feeling well at all.
It's Fantasia.
Now check, because not all of those might be open. So.
I know.
And I know
I get pissed.
watch your language, please.
Here's a bright yellow. Amarillo. There's one of them. Crimson. It's not open. Can we sort them out so we know which ones are open? You don't have to.
Well, no, you could open them anyway because.
Must be a crimson open. You know? You don't like to open them. What's this one? Clover. Crimson.
I'll bring a knife over.
That's Cadium. Name. Ultramarine blue. All set. A cobalt blue.
Just remember to cover the greenhouse back up.
Well, hello, Esther. And Crystal's watching on here, too. That's great.
Did you get one?
I did not. I'm watching I'm actually on Facebook and on Zoom.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
So Aaron looked in the greenhouse today, and yesterday I noticed I have salad with lettuce coming up. He noticed the green beans are coming up.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. Would it be easier if I did this, honey?
So this is the direction we're going to be heading.
Yes, that was very helpful today. I didn't panic over a picket fence.
No fences, just for you, Crystal.
Thank you, darling. I appreciate it. All right, I need a paintbrush. Give me a paintbrush.
I thought that was somebody's doorbell.
It is. It's Zoom's doorbell.
Hey, Debbie. How's Dee Dee doing? She good there? Is she gonna paint too? Put some paint on her paws and have her walk on the canvases.
Paint on the paws.
Very good, very good. We've got a couple more minutes, and we'll let a few more people hopefully join in. And
No problem.
Aaron, would you scoop the brushes over there, please? Thank you. what kind of dog is Grace?
She's a Havanese.
Okay, I don't know that I've ever heard of that kind of dog.
They're sometimes called the Havana or Cuban silk dog.
Oh,
Um,
she's beautiful.
she's a gorgeous little dog. She's gonna come in and visit a little later. Jody's gonna bring her in.
Will she stay small or does she get bigger?
About 10 pounds.
Oh, my kind of dog.
Yeah.
Ours is 14.
That's what Sophia is 14 pounds.
Yeah. What kind of dog?
Miniature Dachshund.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she's 16. She just had surgery last week and had her teeth done. So now she's a real princess.
Yeah.
I heard you last time we talked, you were picking her up from the vet. How's she doing?
Oh, she's doing great. I didn't know it was you, Miss Victoria.
She snuck in.
I invited her since she's home from school.
That's great. That's great. This is open to anybody.
I invited my cousin from Massachusetts. I don't know if she's going to join, but she loves to paint. So I said, you know,
Try it out. I had somebody ask me at job lots if I was painting.
Yeah, this is open to anybody who'd like to come. You know, it's right now everybody could use something.
amen to that. Have you worked in your gardens?
I haven't done too much in the garden in the last week, but that's okay. I'll get back out there. Getting the dog was our big thing. We got the dog on Friday.
Oh, yeah.
Saturday, I'm sorry, Saturday.
Well, we were really lucky. One of the retired teachers from Conval gave us, raspberry plants.
3 of them.
So, 4 raspberry plants and a Concord grape plant.
That's very fun.
It is.
There we go. Hey, Russ. Welcome. Oh, and there you are. Hey, it's so good to see you. I think your volume's off. Or something. Not really hearing Russ's mic. And hi, Cam. So good to see you all.
It's good to see you. I missed the class terribly.
Yeah, this is I'm doing it every Tuesday, and we'll do it this way. It's also on Facebook Live. We've got Ginger's here and Karen, and we've got several folks on Facebook, and tonight our goal is daffodils. Now, Crystal had requested no fences this time. We did well. There was a fence. In her defense, there was a fence in each of the last 2 weeks. We had 2 different kinds of fences granted, but fences are fences. That's nice. But I thought daffodils just as daffodils, and this is actually the first step we're going to do is just do all of this stuff. We're going to do all of the stuff in the.
All the stuff.
Yeah. Now, I had a professor who said either paint. You're either going to draw every blade of grass or you're going to suggest the grass. So I don't know if you get what I'm saying. You're either going to go in and you're going to paint every little leaf that's there, or you're going to suggest the leaves. And you might have parts of them that show through as actual leaves. But so we're actually going to do that. And this is also, sometimes people talk about the missing the forest for the trees. Okay, what we're doing is the forest of the flowers. Which lily is this? Let's see. Lily's coming.
I have a question.
Yes.
Which brushes should we be using? Cindy went out and bought all of my supplies, God bless her, and she got me a set of brushes, but I'm not sure which ones I should be using.
Okay, so for most of this, I'm going to be using one of 3 brushes. I'm not really sure at any point which ones I'll be using, but I have about a 1-inch wide flat. It's flat across, And that's good because you can also get a thin line by going crossways with it. So you can get a 1-inch stroke, or you can get a very thin line. And then I have two smaller brushes, both, this one's they're both a little bigger than a 1/2 inch. What are these, about a 7 or something? This one's flat across, and this one's rounded. The rounded type are called filberts. I actually like filberts a lot. I use filberts a lot. I turn flats into filberts when I use them, but by just scrubbing so much that I wear my brushes down. So, and you think I actually have brushes. Sometime I'll bring in some of my oil brushes just to share. I have brushes that start out about 3/4 of an inch long, and by the time I'm done with them, they're down to nubs. I actually do just wear brushes out. They're bristle brush, and they're used for oils mainly, but I do wear them out. So let me come over here and just show you. I've got a wide flat brush. I have a smaller flat brush and a filbert brush.
Now, mine are the opposite of yours. My biggest one is a filbert.
Yep.
And my other one, the flat.
Yeah,
top,
I would go with the biggest brush you've got. The general rule of thumb that my painting teacher taught me was always use the biggest brush you got. The biggest brush that you can use for what you're doing.
So even if it's the rounded tip?
Yeah, that's fine, because that's actually, if I had a filbert, I probably would be using one.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's fine. And so what we're going to be doing is working on this lower section and getting our stuff. So what we're really doing is background, and nature is chaotic. Nature is chaotic. So in some ways, this will make some of you happy. In some ways, the sloppier the better. And I'm serious about that. I'm not saying that, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So what I've got is I've got my 3 colors on my palette: yellow, magenta, phthalo blue, and white. Do that over here: yellow, magenta, phthalo blue, and white. And what I'm going to do to start out with is I'm going to make a fairly dark. I'm going to make a fairly dark color, like a nice purple. Actually, I think we're going to start with a nice purple. So that's just some blue and magenta. And get something that's a nice kind of purple. Now this seems odd that we're going to paint purple in the back, in where you would have daffodils growing. Usually daffodils are growing; it's all nice and green and all that stuff. And what I'm going to do is start making, sort of chopping. Some spots you want to be darker, some spots a little bit lighter.
Does that come out to be a dark purple, Bob?
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
a light purple?
Yeah, it's a pretty deep purple.
Okay.
I'd call that a pretty deep. Yeah, you can see. Yeah, you can see how deep it is on there. Is that Jesse? That was Bad Joe. It was good. So we got we had the whole Markham crew there. Cool. Hey, good evening. It's so good to see you all. And did you see the picture that we're working on? Yeah. Okay. So we're going to paint some daffodils. And what you do to start off is just kind of make a nice big mess with some purples down here. See that nice big mess? What I'm going to do is, as I go up the canvas, I'm going to add more blue to that and start lightening it a little bit with white. Not too much. I'll show you what I've just done here. So I just took my dirty brush and now made, with a little bit of blue and white. Sometimes water can help the paint to flow a little bit if it starts to dry. So this still has a little bit of a purple to it. It's not as purple. And I'm going to continue to add more blue to it as I come up. And up in the top, we're going to get almost to like doing sky. And I'm adding quite a bit of white now to my blue. Really lighten that up as I go across. Now what this is going to do is form the background for our daffodils.
Thank you, Nate.
That's what's really going to wind up happening.
I need white here. Oh, I didn't? Thank you.
What's that?
I didn't turn the oven off.
Uh-oh.
Okay, dinner's ready.
Ooh.
Except for Nate's part. We're gonna eat after.
Ooh, what's for dinner?
Meatloaf.
Ooh, meatloaf again?
Yes, meatloaf again.
That's what my daughter used to say.
No.
Well, no, mother said that, right? Mother used to say that to you?
Yeah, all the time. Yours is more turquoise blue.
Yeah, I've come up to very pale turquoise up in the corner, and just so that you know that, just remember that the Facebook feed is reversed as mirror image from real life. I think that's hilarious.
Is this what you want?
Oh, that might be the color I want.
It's not open.
I don't care.
So I get it.
Bob, is there any way you can put your screen on bigger all the time so that we can see you better?
Can you test that, please?
You can put my screen on however you like. That's up to you.
Well, I don't.
Yeah, I think you can lock it to mine. I think you can do that on Zoom. I'm not sure what your device and what.
Yeah.
Huh.
So if you have a PC,
Oh, I got it.
yeah, okay.
It's pin video.
There you go. Yep.
How about if I have a iPad? How do I lock it on you?
It probably is labeled the same thing. I'm not sure what the button would look like.
Union Congregational Church. Okay. Switch to gallery view. Well, we'll see.
Well, gallery view is the one that has all the little ones, and then the pin should be part of that same menu somehow. Pin that. What you're doing is pinning mine so that it doesn't move off of your screen.
More purple. I have another paintbrush.
No, I've got crystal.
That's fine.
Click on Bob's little box there. There will be 3 dots that come up in a.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
You click on that and then the video.
okay.
There we go. Thank you. Hey, Gio and Emma are here. Hey, maybe Emma's not really here. She's just kind of off in the background playing, but hopefully she's here. And we're gonna paint daffodils, girls. Emma is very excited about our new puppy. Very excited. All right. Now,
Switch to Yeah. You,
Yeah, I'm not sure that I'm liking what I'm doing. I need help tonight. Tonight is, I'm just trying to new
What's
stuff.
going on with Sally?
I don't know. We don't see you, Sally. We see your
I
name.
know, I know, I know. I'm trying to figure out how to get Bob instead of you.
Well, thanks. Trust me, you'd rather have Bob than me.
Well, that would be nice.
I think she means specifically for the painting class, so I wouldn't take it, you know.
I'm not taking it personally.
Yeah,
It's
I
quite
didn't
all
think
right.
so. And you know that right now, it is good to remember that, you know, people are not necessarily bad. No, really, no, because there's a lot of stress right now. There's really a lot of stress, and it would be very easy for people to just get, you know, overdone.
Quite sure.
They're actually mental health services.
Overdone?
Yeah, well, mental health services are in large demand right now. It's a lot of people are very concerned about that. It is a big issue.
I wonder if he does that.
Well, this is what's keeping me sane, this and playing my music.
There you go.
There you go. Exactly.
So,
I want to ukulele.
oh, that's nice.
I'm having so much fun. And I've got a gold sultry as well. And yeah, it's keeping me entertained.
So what I've done is I've taken some, basically that, again, that purple that we made a little while ago, and this time adding a little yellow to it. The other way to do this would be to kind of use a black or like mix black with some blue or a purple or something like that. So I'm getting a very deep color, and I'm coming right down in the bottom. And I think you can see there is now a real difference between the lower part and the upper part in terms of the light.
Yeah, I gotta put something in there because it's not quite right.
That's all right.
So actually yellow to what?
I add a little yellow to the purple. So the blue and red to make a purple, and then add a little bit of yellow to that, and you kind of get to a place. Eventually, that will be if you with the proper mixing, proper proportions, you can get that to a like a neutral gray, a very dark or a black. I mean, theoretically, it is black, but it's often with these paints, they're not the pigment load is not as high, and so anyway, that's a whole other kettle of fish. But so what I've done is I've added in, and it's what I've got is really a very deep gray purple, and I'm going to add a couple of other. I'm going to add some more yellow to it and see if I can make a. Yeah, okay. Now what I've got is a very deep, dirty green, and I'm going to put some of that in. So some of this is just really a matter of how far you want to get into color and color mixing. Color mixing gets complicated. But what I'm basically doing is having a variety of colors, generally cool colors, and darkest in this lower corner, and coming up so that I've got this background of dark leading up to this nice bright.
Yeah, I don't know what I gotta go in here, but that's okay.
Greenish. I don't think that's what I'm supposed to be. Do you?
No.
It's supposed to be whatever you want it to be, Aaron.
Okay, there you go. Could I have the black, please?
No black.
Yeah, you can use black. I'm giving you all permission to use black. You know, mixing color is really, and I understand that. Jody said to me, you know, you say it's all this. You say look how just do this, and it's so easy. And she's like, I can't do that. So
Thank you, Jody.
she's not here right now, but she had because she's taking care of the puppy right now.
I appreciate your thoughts.
But yeah, she's like, you got to remember, not everybody knows how to do that. And
I'm gonna come by with my dog.
yes,
Meet your puppy.
yes, she is a doll. She's going to come in to visit in a little bit.
hoping to get a little bitty tabletop easel, but they didn't have them, so I had to put this thing together. And it's actually kind of nice to stand up.
Oh, I love having a good easel. I have now three really good easels, and I'll tell you, I used to think, okay, why would I spend, $100 on an easel? It's like because it's furniture, and you want furniture to, hold up. So I just mixed myself a nice bright green because I wanted to check out how the green was, and I just put some of that green, kind of a nice Kelly green. Filling in any of the white spaces that are down in below, because the eye will see those. All right. Now, hopefully up in here, this is all dry for me. It may not be quite dry for you. And we're going to do something, I've talked about this before, that sometimes the only way to really do it is to paint it and then paint over it. And in order to paint over it, you almost have to create a new white of canvas. So what I'm actually going to do now is I'm going to paint in the daffodils. We're going to catch up with branches of daffodil, the parts that come up later, but we need to put our daffodils in. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to paint the daffodils in white, and we're going to let that dry and then go over them in yellow.
Where did you? Oh, okay. I see where you put the green. Took me a minute.
Yeah, there's some green in here. The tallest one comes up here. Now I saw this great thing that showed it showed daffodils in kind of a diagram or a geometric sort of form. The daffodil is so great. This is so easy to paint. So what we're going to do is make a Star of David. I know, I'm sorry, Aaron.
You can hear me.
Okay, look at that. We make a Star of David.
Wait, I gotta see that. Oh,
I mean,
I can do that.
so it's just a Star of David right in here.
In white.
In white. And then what you do from there is that you paint the petal, paint the petal, paint the petal, paint the petal,
We have more white, Aaron. Can you grab another one?
paint the petal.
Oh. That makes complete and utter sense to me now.
Yeah, look at that, doesn't it?
It
And
really does.
There it is. Now, we're going to just leave it like that. There's no trumpet on the top of it yet or anything like that. We're just painting the flower in so that later we can put yellow on top of it.
Okay.
So if you change the position of your stars, you're going to get flowers in different orientations.
Got it. Oh, this makes sense. I can do this.
See, I knew it. I knew it. I like this one. I saw the daffodil design, and I was like, oh yeah, okay. All right, so that's an easy way of doing this.
That really is.
So you take white.
And just make a Star of David. Do you know how to do that? Triangle, and then an upside down triangle.
Wait.
Wherever you want it.
And as many as you want. It's like with Bob Ross, happy little flowers, right?
That's right.
You want to put your happy little flowers in your happy little garden, wherever your happy little garden might be. Yeah, that's great.
I can do it, but that didn't come out quite how I wanted it to, but it's all good. Oh, well, maybe it is okay. I have no idea who was talking to, but whatever it is, it's school nightmare.
The daffodils right now are gorgeous. Ours are all out in the back of the parsonage. We have a whole big bunch of them. We have what I call Polly's garden, because it was actually made for the previous pastor, Polly Shammy, by our women's group. And I had transplanted a bunch of daffodils in there last year, two years ago now, and they're actually spreading. There's more now than there were last year.
I have 3 gardens full of daffodils. I love them.
Yeah. Different types?
Right now, no. And every fall I say I'm going to put something different, and I don't.
All right. So going over these a couple of times with my white to really cover the blue. Because any blue that shows through the daffodil is going to make the daffodil look greener. I mean, a little green's not bad. There's always going to be a little green in the yellow, but you don't want it to be dominated by it. Let me check the Facebook, folks.
Yeah.
How's everybody on Facebook doing? Any questions? I can.
Well, so far 3, but I'm not done yet.
Yeah, I just put 3. I like 3. 3's a nice number. I could have actually even gone bigger with them. In fact, maybe I will do that. I'll do that with one of these. Go a little bit bigger.
That's better. It's a weird shape going there.
There we go.
Oh, that's kind of cool. You guys have easels. Yeah.
Definitely have to add more weight to it, though. Because it's definitely blue. Did you add the stems already, Bob?
No, I haven't gone all the way up. What I'm doing right now is I took a little bit of a lighter green. So what I'm doing is I'm taking some blue and yellow and then a little bit of white and varying that. So I might make it a little brighter yellow green and sometimes a little bluer green, and that gives a nice range of depth. And I'm just kind of putting just almost random marks in to kind of make some greens in here. We're going to get to our stems in a little bit.
Okay.
Let's see.
Hi, Evan. I painted a dinosaur. Cool.
Who is it?
It's like there's a platypus. This is what it was like.
Plesiosaur.
Plesiosaur. The plesiosaur. Well, I forgot the flippers, but I did do the head, the neck, and everything of it. And I cut out its tail. Still painting.
Okay, mine still is.
I can't wait to see Ginger's. Ginger has been making her first versions of these paintings in digital form using Painter and or Facebook, Photoshop, and she uses all kinds of computer devices. And her stuff has been really cute. They're really wonderful. I love it gives us a whole different feel. And Ginger is actually she's a children's book illustrator, and so she brings some experience with her. So what I'm now doing is adding some little highlight yellowy, very yellow greens with some white in them to make sure that they're bright. And here I'm running up to the edge of this daffodil, and then behind it, that'll start to create the illusion of depth. Do the same thing here. Depth can be achieved in a number of different ways in a painting, and one of them is with layering, by having layers. Something's behind something else, and then you say, oh, okay, that's behind there, so you just sort of automatically read it as depth. You can also do it with color by having the colors themselves will change as you go further back. Oh, good, you're back. You okay?
Yeah, my computer died.
Yeah, and that could happen to me at any point as well, just so that you all know. I have had issues with our Wi-Fi at times, so if it does kick off, I usually am able to get it right back again. This week, at least, my technology things are better than last week. I did have to buy another selfie stick so I could have a way of putting Facebook on so I'm using my phone for Facebook. And last week, my little tripod mount died. It broke, so I had the thing taped on, and during the session it fell a bunch of times. It kept falling off, and I was like, oh man. And we had just come back. It was our daughter's 40th birthday party last week, and we went out there for the drive-by. It was a great big to do with fire trucks and all sorts of things. And we had just gotten back in time to start the session, and then the technology was not working right. So, that's how it always works. It's when you have to be ready for something that you can't be.
Murphy's Law.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, and the corollaries. You ever studied the corollaries of Murphy's Law?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No.
So this my favorite one is this is my favorite corollary to Murphy's Law. The chance of a piece of buttered bread falling buttered side up is inversely proportional to the price of the carpet.
Well, there's a good point.
It is, isn't it? I mean, it's always that way. Or jelly, even worse. The jelly is never going to fall face up on a linoleum floor. Face down on a linoleum floor. It will always fall face down on your Oriental carpets.
Yeah.
I mean, you can just predict that. There's got to be a mathematical scale for that. There's whole books. There actually are whole books on Murphy's Law and the related corollaries. They're hilarious. They are hilarious. I love it.
That's why it's good to have a dog.
Oh yeah. Oh, humility. Oh yeah, no, that's a thing.
I noticed you put more green and yellow since I left. What did I miss?
Okay, so what I did was in here, I started with some deeper greens and then started mixing more and more yellows into it. And up in here, I've got some really very bright yellowy greens with some white mixed in as well, because with the white, it helps it to pop up. Oh, is she asleep?
Oh no, she's still sleeping. You want me to bring her
She's
up?
asleep. Well, in a minute.
You want me to bring her in?
In a minute.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if she's sleeping, she's good for a minute.
Yep.
The dog
Just
is
get in
still
to say
sleeping.
hi.
You can come say hi. Say hi to people.
Hi, people. Where do we have some? Hi. Oh, hi, Willie. And Irving. And hey,
Wow.
Jess.
Wow, that's Anya's.
Oh, hi,
That's fantastic. And oh, Alistair, nice. I thought you. Oh, you did. You did. Oh, is that the? That's the plesiosaur there. And there's Lily and Irving and.
Hi, Irving.
Do you like my aquatic?
Yeah, that's a plesiosaur, right? Oh, horsies. And there's Crystal and Aaron.
I love your new puppy.
And who's that?
That was her. And then that's Cam. And Sally's down here. She turned her
Right.
thing off. And Russ. There's two of them there. They're
Russ.
hiding.
Uh-huh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, has he done any of the stems yet? Or
No.
I've been starting to put in some stems, and what you want to do is get something that's gonna, a nice solid green. Oh, here they come. I think Lily. I think the dog has woken.
Eh.
Now the other thing that we're going to do down in the bottom here is that we'll put in some
She woke up.
errant leaves. Yep, here she comes. Here comes our little Grace.
Miss America.
Say hi, everyone. Hi, everyone.
She's so cute.
Oh,
She
the kitty
is
cat.
such
Look
a
at the kitty cat.
sweetheart. Oh my gosh.
I know.
She just woke up from her nap.
Oh, gorgeous.
Show Facebook.
Oh, Facebook. Our Grace. Right? Oh, I know. You're such a good girl.
Oh, look at that face.
I know. And we melt every time we see it.
It's just too cute. Oh, look at her yawning now. We're tired.
Yeah.
Just woke up.
Just woke up.
Yeah, we
Our
had a
dog
big day.
sleeps all the time.
Oh, yes. Mm.
She's not a puppy.
Yeah, she's odd.
Oh, like us.
I don't like that blob over there. I had to do
I'm
something.
sorry, I'll fix it.
No, it's my blob.
Oh, your blob.
But you know
Oh,
what?
oh, I can't see your
It's not
blob.
yellow yet because my white is still not white enough.
Yeah, I had to put a couple of layers on there.
Yeah, I think I gotta let it dry or something. 'Cause
Yeah, that's and we may not have sufficient time to really have all of that happen in one
It's all
shot. We
good.
still got about 20 minutes, but we're still in pretty good shape.
I think it's the black. It just was too much. It's purple, maybe.
So what I've done is I've done some of the leaves kind of coming up this direction as well now in the front, so that we start to get a feel of a tangle of leaves and things. Now, in some ways, as earlier I had said, you want to make sure you're not painting the leaves. You want to, or you don't want to paint the trees. You want to paint the forest. That's what this is. It's not really about painting the individual, like one flower with all of the leaves that would come with it. By doing it this way, of having multiple lines coming up, it all just sort of fills in. All you need is a line up here somewhere coming down from your daffodil that suggests that that's its connection to the ground, and you're all set. The rest of it can be very loose and very wild. I mean, the daffodils that are out in our back, they're out in kind of in the field, and it is wild where they are. This is sort of like the way that it is around them. This one's not going to take as long because there's no fence, Crystal.
Thank you, Lord. I can't do that fence thing.
That's all right.
Well, I can do it.
You can. It's
I just need to be pre-warned.
right. Well, and that's one of the things about doing in this format. This format is not meant to be creating finished works of art. We're really more about having fun, exploring something, and playing a game. If you think about, when you were young, you would go out and play, play in the playground, play in the yard, play whatever. I know, probably Vicky didn't because she was born in a different generation when they didn't let children out of the house. Um, don't get me started on that. But when you went out and played outside in the yard, you didn't care at the end of the day what you had made or done, or it was part of your experience now.
Right.
Well, the same thing goes here. It's really about having the fun of doing the painting, not about having some perfection. And if you like the idea, see if you do want to take it as a you wanted to make a finished painting out of all of this. You wanted to make a painting that you would submit to an art contest or something like that. You probably would do it several times, figuring out the different pieces of the puzzle until you got it just the way you wanted it. That process takes time. I mean, I think I showed one of Mount Adams in the afternoon. I've been working on. I have the big one. Well, I had done a small painting of it already. I've done a number of studies from that same set of pictures that I had taken and pieces I did. It takes time to build up an idea. With this, if you're doing, let's say you wanted to really do this as a finished piece, you might decide, well, I like it with 3, but let's see how it looks with 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Or with 7.
Oh God.
Yeah. But that's the thing. You're going to get different. Yeah, I thought that was Russ's. I didn't realize that was you back there. Yeah, there you go. See, 7. And the arrangement of them and all of that, every little bit of it, when we're going to work out to make a work of art, we want to really pay attention to every bit of it. How big are they? What's their relationship to each other? Where are they located on the canvas? What's the general colors, going on? Where is the light and where is the dark? And sometimes you might have to do the same piece 4 or 5 times to start really getting that figured out, where you really want things. And some people are really, really good at taking an idea and then making something terrific out of it. Bob Fellows does that a lot. He'll just put his own twist on a painting that we're doing. He's never seen the idea before, but it's always got his own twist on it. And I think that the big thing is really just to have fun playing with it.
Oh, yours is awesome, honey.
I'm still letting my. Oh, hi, Jenny. Oh, Ginger's using paint tonight. She says she's using paint. Oh, and Jody's watching too. Jody's watching from the other room now. She took the dog in the other room. She's watching from in there. Let's see. And I'm going to get myself a little more yellow. Because I think I'm just about going to... It's still a little wet. I know that's going to blend when I put this on the white there. But I'm going to go for it anyway. Oh, not bad at all. Yeah, it's not bad at all. I'm going over my white with the yellow and I'm not really picking it up badly. Yeah, okay.
I need to do more of this color, I think. Too much purple. Still not liking it.
There's no lichen in this painting.
I mean,
There's no lichen in this painting. No trees, no fences with lichen, nothing with lichen on it. The daffodils aren't around long enough to accumulate lichen on their outsides.
I might have to do this again another day, because, yeah, not happy with the bottom. Love the top, love the flowers, don't like the top.
And you know, that's when I start a painting, I don't always love every part of it, and see, that's the big thing is then figuring out what do you need to do to make it lovable. And that's the question, you know, that's always the question, what's the next thing to do? And I've said this before, I'll actually, after doing a piece, I set it aside and I wait for it to talk to me.
I have one that's been talking to me for a year, I haven't finished it. Okay, maybe 2.
I got you beat. I do have one that I've been working on for over 2 years.
Okay, good, I don't feel so bad.
And I just started working on it again last week. I hadn't touched it in months and months. Here, I'm gonna turn you folks around so you can see it. Let me. I'm just gonna get some light on it. So it's this.
Oh, wow,
Oh, beautiful.
that is gorgeous.
What is that?
That's 3 by 5 feet. That canvas.
Wow.
So
Now,
that.
where is that, where was that?
It's in Virginia. It's Cross Keys Vineyard in Virginia, McCaheysville, up in the mountains in the Shenandoah Valley.
That is beautiful.
Shenandoah Valley?
No, that's River Deer.
I know.
Oh.
Shenandoah River.
Okay, gotta work on the shape a little here with these daffodils, but that is so much easier than trying to.
So you got to come see me. I think the puppy's got to come back and see me.
That's kind of a flaw.
Let's go see Papa.
Come here, you. Come here. Go see Papa. Hi there. Yeah. Hi.
Nice name. Grace.
Grace is such a good name for her. She is a gift. She is a gift of God.
Amen to that.
Mm.
She's beautiful.
I've just seen everybody showing up paintings.
All right, Nathaniel, come see the puppy. Is he awake? Oh, come check out the puppy live.
Live and on the inside.
Yeah, see, it's too wet, I think, so I'm not, but it will be.
What do you do to, what else do you do?
You could put orange in the center.
Yes, you can go a little bit yellower in the center, a little orangey in the center. There are some that have the orange trumpet, yellow
I know,
trumpets.
we want to keep it.
There are some that are paler. That's again, you know, one of the things in nature. Almost any color winds up working. I mean, it's not any color, but you know what I mean. There's a big range.
Oh, we put the puppy down there, sorry, you missed it.
Oh, here, come on over with the
Oh,
puppy.
I'm sorry.
Nate, we're coming back with the
I
puppy.
know, here we are. Who was it? Who needed?
It's him.
Look at her.
Oh,
Isn't
hey,
she
hi.
adorable?
Her name's
Here she
Grace, and
is.
She only gets
Oh, they froze. Everybody froze.
Oh,
Okay, I think you scared her, Nate. You scared the internet.
yeah, he's a scary guy. It's that red beard. She is lovely.
Is he going to? Did he get to see her?
I think so.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. I'll just sit here for a minute. Don't
Yeah.
worry.
I gotta let those dry. It's just too much. See,
Yeah, there's sometimes, and this is why we don't usually do too much of this, of putting down a color. and then painting over it, because in one session that's a hard thing to get to work.
I did. It must be in the car. Did you bring the sweet tea up?
I know.
The
I didn't
sweet.
see it.
Oh, it's in the car, Nate. Yeah, I think my bottom is the bottom of the painting is too dark
I love you.
and not billowy enough. Does that make sense?
I know, you were fine. I wasn't gonna hurt your little girlfriend. Okay, a little exercise.
That's beautiful.
Walk across the way for me. Okay, come on.
Could I have orange?
Come on.
Don't ask me to mix. Thank you.
Now,
How'll that work?
give me a shot of that.
If you don't leave a spot, I'm gonna put you right. Oh yeah, it's about time that.
I just did is I just put some little white on the edges, a little lightening up on the edges of the petals, just to give them a little bit of a pop.
Bob, to put the orange in the center, would you do a circle or would you do more of it like a Star of David?
I did kind of a circle, and mine was really just a mushed. I just kind of mushed a brush into it. It's not even really. I mean, I did kind of make a circle, but it's fairly loose.
Grace?
Yep.
Come here, Grace. So how's everybody doing there?
Grace, come here.
Good.
Come on.
Nice. Yeah.
Terrific.
Yours are beautiful.
Mine's the best.
Oh, nice. Nice. Yeah. And, you know, as you put the yellow on, they really begin to change, don't they?
Yeah, now it's a yellow mess.
Nice. Is that watercolor, Lily? Yeah, you gotta unmute yourself.
Watercolor, no, it's crayon and pencil.
Nice. Very cool. Yeah, I mean, that's a great thing, is you can do this with paints, or you could do it with any kind of materials. Oh,
Yeah, I've got to take a picture, Mr. B, because that is just lovely.
how's everybody on Facebook doing?
Well, I'm not gross. It's just not the best.
Turn that to you folks to see it a little better.
I can't see the screen very well with my binoculars.
She couldn't see the screen very well with her binoculars.
What could you see? The deer all the way outside?
Well, we could see a hawk outside.
Wow. I've seen a lot of hawks already this year.
Sorry to take them away from you.
Oh, that's okay. No, that's all right.
Hawk just hanging out next to the garden.
Yeah, I like that. That little set of 3 is pretty cool. I like the heart that Anya put in hers. That's nice. Yeah, this is very cool. I'm hoping next week to actually try a somewhat different technology. And if it works, the Facebook might not be backwards.
Who was on the phone?
She okay? Okay.
They wanted to see Xylo, so she was gonna bring him down, but Tom was busy.
Yes, I miss my grand dog.
That looks good.
They haven't. Doesn't Dad look awesome?
Yeah, that looks real good.
Alright, mine's okay from here up.
No, it's always, you know, that's the big thing, is to figure out figure out what you could do next. And sometimes it's not apparent. And sometimes the best thing, if you're really not happy with something, is to figure, okay, at this point I can't make it any worse, so I'm just gonna.
This is very true. But you know what it is? It's not necessarily. It's the fact that it's too dark at the bottom.
Yeah.
And it needs to be more billowy and flowy, and it's not.
Yeah.
It's really dark and chunky, and I don't care for. But oh, come back here, I'm stuck.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
So some thinner lines in there can break that up.
Okay. But what would you use for colors? Like a lighter purple maybe, or?
Yeah, you could do something that would contrast a little bit, you know, something that's maybe just a little bit lighter, a couple shades lighter. And then what you wind up getting is when you have blobby things, usually it's because it's too much undifferentiated.
That's what it is.
You know, when you nature is filled with all kinds of variation. It's always changing remember when I said earlier, messy is actually good. Because what messy gives you is a quality of movement and energy that you have in nature. Nature is not clean.
Well, and that's the problem is that it's not. Yeah, it's not that. Aaron, turn yours around though. Aaron's looks awesome. Down. There you go.
Very cool. Yeah, yeah, and that has that kind of tousled kind of look in the bottom. Now, and with Russ, and I'm sorry, I've forgotten your name. With Russ. Elaine, sorry. Thank you. Elaine's really has a very different take. It's more flowy and smooth in the background. And then the flowers are a nice contrast in there. So that's a stylistic difference.
Nobody can do the same exact thing.
Right, and if you think in art, what you'll see is Rousseau. I don't know if you've ever seen Rousseau. He has like these they look like jungle scenes, but they almost look cartoonish. Yeah, yeah, and his stuff is very stylized. His nature is very stylized. There are a lot of artists who have a very stylized way of making things, and that just means that rather than trying to be as realistic as possible, there's a flair. It's like in when we did Odyssey of the Mind, what's now what's that now? Anyway, there were points for the production that the kids did. There were points based on how they got how they interpreted the theme and how they did one thing or another. But always one of the big components of the scoring was what they called style points. And style points is about how you do it. You know, style points is about whether you, whether you walk in a room and go, hi, or whether you walk in a room and go, hi, how are you doing? You know, that's, the second one has more style points. And, in life, the people who get the most style points are often the most fun. You know, they kind of take life and make it entertaining. And that's, in art, that's why it's one of the appealing approaches to art. So people can make things as realistic as possible or as unrealistic as they choose. That's the beauty of expression. I had, in sort of doing some research on daffodils, I found some fantastic ones that were really, really, really abstract. So, rather than really being recognizable as flowers, it was really just smooshes of color all over the place. I thought it was actually quite nice, and that's just a different approach. That's just a really different approach.
Love it or hate it.
Yeah, and you know, people either you know what they say is that like if you're watching a commercial and you don't understand the commercial wasn't designed for you.
Right.
And it's the same thing with art. I mean, you know, if you don't get it, fine, then it's not your art. And oh my goodness, if anybody can look outdoors, the light right now is exquisite. Oh my goodness. Oh.
Oh, yeah, it was a good thing I got up. Whoa. Sitting that long is not good.
That was
Oh, wow.
beautiful.
Oh my goodness. Oh, see that's and what I'm trying to figure out is how to capture that light in a painting. You know, how do you make light that looks like light? That's a big challenge.
Maxfield Parrish.
Maxfield Parrish. Now, Maxfield Parrish, I've studied his work, and I'm working on trying to use some of the methods that he used. I don't use his same method. His method was time-consuming and different. He also was an illustrator, and so he had the ability to render things extremely accurately. So he would do that, and then he would paint in all of the dark shapes blue. He would just take cobalt blue and paint them all of the places that were shadows. He painted cobalt blue, and then he began putting on glazes and then varnishes and then glazes and then varnishes and glazes and varnishes until he had developed the color. So he would paint his whole canvas white, put on the blue, and then he would go over all of it with these colors. And so the places where what eventually happens is that all of the light is coming through from the canvas. All of his paint is transparent. Yet, Irving, are you asking a question? Oh yes, Irving.
We just saw a hawk outside.
Ooh, big one?
Yeah. Rattling hawk.
Beautiful. Yeah, I've seen some big ones. I've also seen some little ones. There's the Coopers and the Sharpshin we have around here, and we actually have a lot of raptors, but the red tail is one of the most beautiful birds. Ooh, ooh, so tell me about your picture, Irving.
It's the dinosaur. It's the same thing that Alistair did.
Oh, nice. The plesiosaur. Very cool. Yeah, with the long neck. I like that. Very nice.
We're gonna sign off in just a minute.
Okay, yeah, we're going to be finishing up shortly. One of the things I really miss is the group picture and the sort of going through all of them. Oh, very nice, Lily. Wow, really, really nice. Yeah, that's terrific. This is so much fun. I'm so glad that you were able to come.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time.
All righty.
Have a good night.
So we'll probably see you Sunday morning.
Yes. Oh, true.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye. See ya.
Well, everybody.
Thank
Thank you.
Okay, well, it's not exactly, but it's still, I think, a little bit better.
No, that was just they just got off.
I was gonna go. She's coming in sick night, but we missed it. We missed it.
Well, the rest of them are still here.
Oh.
That was just Lily and that was just the Markhams that got off. So hopefully you enjoyed this, and next week I may I'm actually I may see if I can find something other than flowers, because Luke Scholl had made a request for something not flowers. Can't we do something other than flowers? So and he's what? He's a 11-year-old boy. So
Yeah,
I mean that's just the way it goes. So I'm not sure exactly what we'll do, but I will do a picture so it can go out in advance for you, so you can see it in the email.
He
Hopefully,
wants to do a dinosaur.
Nate wants to do a dinosaur. How much did Alistair pay you?
Yeah, how much did he pay for that?
Yeah, how much did the little fellow pay for that one? So I hope you have a good evening. If you can send pictures, post pictures of your paintings if you'd like. That's fantastic. And I thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy your week, and everybody stay safe and healthy. And Jody's gonna come back in with the puppy to say goodnight again too. Yep. So Grace wishes everybody a good night.
Good night, 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 good night.
Bob, I love your Tuesday mornings also. By
Oh,
the way.
good. And tomorrow is Bible study. We have Bible study. And if you ever want to join the Bible study, we have one from 10 to 12 and one now from 7 to 9. And tomorrow we're doing John 10. We're doing the shepherd.
I have to tell you that Aaron and I were out working in the yard and had Sunday church on the Bluetooth. It was very cathartic. It was lovely.
Good. That's great.
Singing, you're preaching. It was wonderful.
That's terrific.
So
You
there's
know,
a positive to having church online.
we all need each other.
And we were working in the garden.
That's really good. We all need each other, and we all need to know that we're connected. Very nice. Very nice.
Well, have a great week, Bob. Actually, we'll see you on Sunday. Or hear you on Sunday anyway.
All right. Take care, all.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank
Buddy.
Bye, Vic.
Okay, and I'm gonna sign off here again. Good night to all, and thank you so much. And we will. I can help you, Ginger, with Zoom stuff. Not hard. You won't have any trouble at all. Take good care and have a good night.